back on Inna Godda Davida here on our Friday night show, Red Dragon TV. Hey, people watching out there tonight, tuning in, that you'd let know about the show, and maybe you want to give them a quick shout out, some love out there to them.
Again, like I said before, I shouted out to some of my friends in Africa. So Angela, if you're on deck, how you doing? And here comes my one and only love into the
Love
audience.
of your life.
Welcome.
Welcome
Sister
home.
Ellen, welcome home. Welcome to the Red Dragon.
Good to
Again,
see you.
as I said, my GODs out there,
Yeah.
you know who I'm talking about. Have a great show.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying myself. I got one more set to do, and then we'll be having a good time. But what you want to talk about, man?
Oh, well, you know, I like to check in with the artists, and maybe we can talk about things that people might not know about Old Black Joe, you know. And originally from Chicago, Illinois.
Yes.
And definitely a different time period than today's kids are dealing with down there. That's just maybe one of those South Side Chicago kids are watching. What do you got to say to that young person? Just give them some love, you know, because you know the love. You really do.
Okay. Well, the love is survival.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Makes
Let's
you
deal
use
with
that mic better a little bit.
on the real side,
Mhm.
survival. Okay. And the art of survival is love. Now,
Amen.
I hope that I'm not confusing you. Survival, you think struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And I say love. And so as you grow up and as you come through, those are the things you need to explore in your life and find it for yourself. Other than that, the struggle is here,
Mm-hmm.
now, in this world we live in, and you know, and it's rough.
Mm-hmm.
And
But anyone can rise up above anything that
That's
they're
right.
in.
and you can rise up and you can move forward by having love and not
Yep.
hate. And
Yep.
there's, again, I said the key word. So as you go forward, don't be hating.
And love yourself too.
Oh, you gotta love
yeah,
yourself.
Yeah.
Much love for yourself. If you
Yes,
love
sir.
yourself, it emanates from you just like the sun rays.
Yeah.
Come off the
I'm not good at loving myself. I admit that. I try very hard to do that. It's a tough lesson in life to get a hold of, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I've had my moments. I'm not
Mhm.
you know, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I'm part of this universe, but I look at, you know, the
We
struggle.
scrape our knee and we get back up.
You have
right?
to get up. I mean, I
Yeah.
spent many decades in martial arts, and you know, I know that for a fact. If you get knocked on the ground, you get your butt up. and
Get back up and do it again.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, I think what I would like to really impress upon you as an artist is I want you to understand that you, sir, are just as good as many of my favorites on Red Dragon TV. I want that to sink in for a second, that you really are a star. And I want you to really grab a hold of that and take that with you when you go and play out after you leave Red Dragon TV, because you, sir, are a contender in my eyes. I want to make sure you know that.
Well, you know, as I've told you, I come from a long lineage of contenders, so
Mhm.
I know my roots.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And with that said, people, knowing my roots,
Mhm.
that's what you hear coming out of me. I'm not trying to be like nobody else. I'm trying
Right.
to be what is inside of me, and that's what I'm developing.
Yeah.
I'm a latecomer. I'm 65, but I'm still alive, and Old Black Joe is on the go. So, you know.
And
keep
you're not
ears
putting
open.
on airs of any kind either when you're
No,
playing.
this is straight up. I don't touch that wah-wah pedal that much. Most of my effects coming out of me, and I realize you develop your own stuff, then you
Mhm.
can grab onto this technology and have fun
Yes,
with
sir.
it.
Amen.
So you hear an old school funk coming out of me, and that's what I'm about. So I'm sorry I don't have my Chronic Jones crew, but again, I'd like to put a shout out on June 21st here in Madison. I will be doing the show at the Warner Park Shelter.
Nice.
And I will be playing the first show from 12 to 1, Old Black Joe and the Chronic Jones Band. So come and check me out and my crew, and you'll hear me in all my glory. But let's
Very cool.
continue. What more you got?
I think, do you have some recordings in the mix that you're working on or anything like that that you got in the near future that you're shooting for?
Well, again, as I said, I'm a late bloomer. I just
Mhm.
retired a couple
Use
of
your
years
mic,
ago.
brother.
I just retired a couple of years ago, so I'm a late bloomer. I'm working on my material. Again, this is why this studio is such a blessing to musicians like myself and other local musicians. I want to compliment you again for what the work you're doing in the community. This hopefully will yield something that maybe some vendor, some venue somewhere might want to have me come and do some solo stuff to open for somebody, or just to show my stuff because they got something, they can see what I'm about, and they know. So this is good for me. So hopefully, so it's good. It's really
So hey, Ellen, if you're watching out there in California, Red Dragon TV could use a hookup.
Hey, you can hook up old Black Joe any day of the week. All you folks out there.
But Ellen does that, right? The show Ellen, DeGeneres. She hooks people up at random. So I'm just saying, if she catches this video, the studio could use
Ellen
a little
DeGeneres,
help.
like I say, people that got the gift, you got it. If you want to throw it around, you know about these radio stations, TV stations like this place here. Hook up. We need to connect globally.
Yeah, I would love it if I could get the sponsorship to cover the bills, but not only that, that I could pay the independent artists for their time.
How long have I been supporting
you? Oh my God! Since the beginning.
Since the beginning. Going on over a decade.
It's been 6 or 7 years.
Close
I thought it was 8, but I think it was more like 7.
Right. And like I said, this is a community thing, what we do is free. I mean, and you are paying the bills. We hustle. We have events here. We have this, and we're dependent on someone out there saying, "Hey, I like what's going on. This ain't a bunch of commercials coming at me. This is some people having a good time, whether it's one individual or a whole band up here."
Right.
Okay.
I love doing it. I get a kick out of it. Last week we had a woman in the studio. Her name is Dina, and she was just traveling the country and booked us in the lineup of cities.
What kind of stuff was she into?
She was kind of a poppy folk acoustic sound.
Speaking of poppy folk, I got one I'm gonna pull out of on the next set.
Nice.
I'm gonna give y'all some Tennessee Ernie Ford 16 tons. If you like that.
Now let's talk about growing up. Who were your personal favorites in the music scene? Who just got a hold of old Black Joe?
My personal favorite would be my late great uncle, Luther Tucker.
All right.
Okay.
Let's talk about Luther Tucker.
Luther Tucker is hailed from Memphis, Tennessee.
All right.
And he was a renowned blues guitarist. He has passed away, but he was one of the best out there in Chicago and down south, out West Coast, down in Texas, overseas. It's one of those people that did a great lot of stuff and never got a lot of recognition. But the old timers know about Luther Tucker.
Nice.
And Junior was his name. That's what they called him. And so as a kid, I saw him in Chicago playing at the clubs in Chicago, and I watched and I saw the spirit coming out. And so that's why I really feel the best music comes from inside of you. And if I can express that feeling, then you're having a party with me.
Yeah, I hear you there. I really do. Let's talk a little bit about, you are a retired teacher, recently retired from the school system.
Survivor.
And you really love young people, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I see that in you whenever you're around them, you kind of light up a little bit, and you really love to give them props and support. And what do you think about our culture as a whole? Do you think that there's areas we could be focusing a little more with our young people?
Again, I think like what I did before I was a teacher, people need to know my history. Those of you out there,
on your mic, bro.
Those of you out that know my history, you know that there was a time that here in Madison that I had a martial arts studio, and I worked with the youth, and I helped to empower them to be responsible and to grow. And when I was a teacher for 25 years, I did the same thing in the school system. And right now, today, that's what they need. They need to be empowered so that they don't fall into the trap of going with the crowd, okay, doing what everybody else is doing. Okay, you hear about it over and over. We got to
You know what's funny about that is I know a lot of your students in Madison over the years, either at the school or in the martial arts programs, and a lot of them were, I want to say they're kind of the fringe elements of Madison culture. They were kind of the troublemaker kids, but they always had great things to say about you. You know what I mean? They hated the system and everybody else, but they always had fond things to say about you, the teacher.
Well, I was a fringe.
Yeah.
My roots are fringe. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing, you know. So that's what when fringe can talk to fringe, I guess you might say.
But you also shined a light on them.
The light is that I seriously will tell you what reality is all about.
Yeah.
And I will show you in many ways. Some have physically heard and saying it, and some have verbally heard it. But you got it. And the real deal is that you got to be strong.
And I do believe that you probably have a mentor spirit. At times you've come in my life and helped me when things got a little shaky. Yeah. And I think that, yeah, we recognize our own individual ministries, don't we? That we know to follow that certain path.
Well, with me, again, my discipline has been my root. Okay, my discipline, I was brought up that it is my role to do my best in this society to help others as best I can.
Amen.
In whatever way I can to direct them. If the young people, point them in the right direction. If it's an old person, help that person. If it's, you know, whatever the situation, if I can give, I can. Right now I'm making this music, I'm just sending out love. And that's, you know, and I'm blessed.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I could sit here all night talking with you, but I have a feeling we should probably slide out to break. So
yeah, take a break, because this arm's getting tired holding this here mic up. I'm going to go like this again.
Yeah.
Hey, anyway, thank you everybody so much for tuning in.
I would like to give a shout out to Ezra on camera, and the Earl in the back tech room on the mixer, and Thomas on the audio board. Thank you guys for your help.
Studio audience out there. Thank you so much.
Ezra Brothers is here tonight. I can't remember his name. Sam is here.
Sam is here from Miami representing.
Yeah, and
hey, I got some people in Miami that are watching too. So we got some of you Miami folks up here enjoying this wonderful spring weather.
And we're going to slip on out to break and come back. Oh, incidentally, if you can help out for the cause, big green button on reddragontv.tv website. And if you can afford $1 or whatever, we'd surely appreciate it. And coming back in just a couple minutes with the wonderful music of Old Black Joe.
All right, 16 tons next.